Well, welcome to the Make No Music Income podcast, episode 1. Just kidding. This is actually episode 46 of the Make Music Income podcast. But today we are going to be talking about the libraries, the time we spend, and the general waste of time sometimes that brings in no music income at all. And so we have to be careful with our time. We have not been shy to call out libraries and other places that are making us income. I mean, really not shy. So what about the libraries, though, that have made us no cash in our actual pockets? I'm not talking about we've made a sale and we haven't reached a payout or something like that. What about the time we spend on those pursuits or on any pursuits that just bring in no money at all, or haven't yet anyway?
Yes.
So now, does music have to be a thing that brings us music at every turn, money at every turn? Like we have to be making income at everything we do with music? Of course not. We do things sometimes just because we love to do it. I think stock is especially on some levels for some of us, just a fun way to put our music out. It's similar to putting it out on Spotify when you have no followers or nobody listening. You're putting it out almost for posterity. At least it's getting out somewhere. At least there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. But we have to still be careful with our time and make sure we are not wasting that precious time loading up to libraries that aren't making us anything, and spending time on processes and websites and things that we and discords and chats and all sorts of stuff that are making us no money at all. So anyway, they are making us nothing. They are making us nada, zilch, goose egg. Any zero words you have, Steve?
I have some thoughts about activities that bring me zero income.
What do you call zero up in Canada?
Zero.
Is there a word for
zero,
it? Zero?
If you're in the Quebec region.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, we're going to explore all those places that have made us no money, nothing in our hands, nothing in our bank accounts. But before we delve into any of this, let me formally introduce my podcast partner and a man who tries never to waste a precious moment of his creative time, Mr. Stevie B. How have you been?
I've been good. Thanks for the kind intro. I do try not to waste my time. Although I'll tell you, I'll tell you about spending time on things that don't bring me money. And maybe it will bring me money at some point. But as you know, I don't think this is very interesting for people to hear, but I've been trying to learn Cubase. I mean, I went on a rant on my live stream.
I think it's interesting.
Yesterday.
Cubase is an interesting conversation that we don't talk about that DAW very much, really.
No, well, there's people that are diehard Cubase fans, and there's people that are diehard Logic and whatever. Any DAWs. People get really into their DAWs. And I've never, been I would never say I was a diehard Logic fan, even though I love Logic. I always thought that it would be nice to, try out the other DAWs. It's just really a matter of being limited on time. But as you guys know, I built this PC computer, and I'm dedicated to the idea of learning Cubase because it seems like the right fit for me just based on the research I've done. And now I'm really, really getting into it. And it's taken up a lot of my time just to get the muscle memory going. Figure out all the hotkeys, get it configured, download all the software, and just figure out the interface.
You need to watch Guy Michael Moore.
Yeah, I love Guy.
He uses Cubase, I think.
Yes, he does. Yeah, I think he does. I think he uses Logic too, doesn't he? Anyway, but
he uses
great.
both. But most of the time when he's showing off new instruments and stuff, or he's showing off stuff that he's actually doing, he's usually showing it off in Cubase, from what I've seen.
Well, Cubase is the OG DAW, right? I mean, in a lot of ways. I mean, you'd think they'd have it all super dialed in. There's a few things that bother me, but there's some other things that are great too. And I've been watching a lot of Dom Segalis. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I think he's a German dude. He does a lot of great tutorials on YouTube. Anyway, getting it all figured out, but this is something that doesn't really bring me any money. It's just something that I got to figure out.
For speed and to save you time eventually down the road.
Exactly. And yeah, that's kind of where with. My last week is just like trying to like figure that out. But I have been writing some music in it, and I actually have like one finished cue already, which I'm going to share soon. And yeah, maybe I'll do a little video on YouTube or anything. But yeah, I've had a hard time sort of paying attention to some of the other more important things. Speaking of which, I did a great live stream yesterday. I was really happy with it. You were there for a bit. You featured one of your songs and featured the members of the Academy's work for last month's challenge, which was to write a holiday themed track in no particular holiday, just whatever holiday you want. Most people wrote Halloween or Christmas music, and man, we had some really, really, really fantastic submissions, some really great orchestral stuff from a few new members too, which really blew me away. Cool. And man, I'm gearing up to write a bunch of Christmas tracks. I'm gonna flood Motion Array with Christmas music. That's my plan, because I don't think I'm gonna have time to send them anything this month. So I'm just gonna work on submissions for December and just pile them up. Where are you at with your Christmas stuff? Are you gonna?
I'm going to do a whole piano Christmas album. I started it last year, and I'm just gonna every week I'm going to be putting out a new song out to Spotify and all those places, but also putting it up to the libraries, because my Spotify, my solo piano hymns and songs do really well. I guess that's for people who really want, something chill in the background and not too much, but they want something. So that's one of my things, one of my genres, and it's quick to make. I can make it in 10, 15 minutes once I have the arrangement down. So.
That's cool.
That's my goals for that.
Yeah, maybe I'll do some traditional stuff too. That sounds like fun. Just keep it light. And
Canada, you certainly should have your own like I know you've got what's the one song that I've recorded already, the Huron Carol, and different things like that. That are Canadian in nature. You might look at those kind of things too.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. I don't know if we have any like traditional Canadian Christmas songs.
Are you familiar with the Huron Carol?
No.
It's not very dun, 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 dun. It's kind of like a traditional, maybe indigenous people's song.
Right.
But based, I had a Canadian group do it, and they said it's kind of big up there. So
cool. I'll check that out.
I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, what else? Is that all that's going on?
Yeah, it's pretty much it with me. Yeah, what's going on with you?
Well, I was just sitting here finishing a mix for a lady in Vienna.
Oh, nice.
We've been working on it's also a Christmas song, so she's really trying to get it done. But there's been a lot of orchestral stuff that I've added to it, and then she sent a bunch of vocals that I had to tune, and then she took a chunk out of it, and I had to figure out where the chunk was. Some people, she says, I just did that on my computer. So I had no idea. I didn't have a track to compare the old track to. I just had her track with vocals, so it was very hard to hear where the cut was. But I figured it out, and trying to finish that up. I'm actually I've got a lot of video work to do, but I think I'm going to try and look finally for a video editor.
Oh yeah.
I have to offload some things. That's become really apparent. Graham Cochran really inspired me earlier this week. I think he did a whole thing about, you have to give up the things, or actually it was an old podcast that he had, but you have to give up the things that are taking up the part of your time that you don't love. And it's the 80-20 rule and all that kind of stuff, and
dude, I think about that all the time.
I have to be only composing and educating. And the YouTube sites fall inside the education part. I love doing them. They're so much fun. It's kind of like your Academy and this podcast. It's just, there's things that are life-giving or
life-sucking.
They feed you, and then there's things that, they don't. It's not that they suck the time out of you. Once you get into doing them, it's fine. It's like editing video or or mixing for clients and things like that. It's not always fun. It's better than any other thing that you could do, probably.
Here's the thing, though. Like video editing, like hiring a video editor is expensive. How do you figure that one out? That's the thing for me too, because I've always wanted to have a video editor. But man, even if you go on like Fiverr or something like that. They're all really expensive.
Yeah, I just went on Fiverr and put an ad out. But the problem with Fiverr is I usually get people from other countries on the opposite side of the world. So there's two problems. Number one, they don't speak very good English, even if they say they speak English. And the second part is they are on the other side of the world. So they're waking up when you're going to sleep and vice versa. And so there's issues with timing and conversing. So Upwork, I'm trying to... my account has been frozen or something on there. I don't know. I haven't used it in a long time. I have also got an intern in mind that is about to graduate from the school I teach at. He is a very sharp dude, and I'm going to be talking with him this week, maybe today, about maybe coming on with me as an intern and then paying him hourly down the road for some things. And one of those things would be video editing. I think he's able to edit video, but he could also do some audio tasks as well. He's just super talented. Also comes from a similar background as me, great communicator, and very responsible young man. So
cool.
I'm trying to probably going to build up an intern team. I started to do that a few months back over at the school, but the way I wanted to do it couldn't be done. So I'm going to have to do it in a different way. But there's just no more time to keep clients waiting for me to get an open spot to get something done for them.
I hear you.
And so everything has to be outsourced. That is not my composing and my pitching and my educational work, which includes my school job, but also includes my YouTube channels and this podcast.
The whole thing is like
focuses.
It's a conversation. It's like you could do a whole podcast on that, because it's something I've thought about a lot. Really spun the wheels on that whole intern thing too, because there's a great audio production school, and I feel like I could just walk in there and be like, hey, I'm an old graduate from this school, and I'm working in the music industry, and I could take someone under my wing and show them the ropes if they're interested, and in return for helping me out with some of the work that I'm doing. But
and it's
that's a
whole
full-time job in and of itself, right? To kind of tutor somebody.
That's the problem.
So it's like, are you creating more work, or are you getting rid of some? It's hard to say.
I started this. I had a student in my class who did video, and he was very good. And I gave a project to him to get done, and I gave him all the videos. I gave him all the clips that I wanted to use in it. I went to Envato Elements and just downloaded all the clips and say, here they are in a Dropbox. Just download these and make a music video, a lyric video, which is just stringing things together in time and putting words on it.
Yeah.
I waited for 2 weeks, and I kept asking him every time. It was a bit of a conflict of interest because he was in my class and also working on schoolwork. But
yeah.
I was like, how you doing with that? I'm getting to it. And 2 weeks went by. Finally, he had nothing. And finally, I just did it one morning in 2 hours. And that's the problem. I can wait 2 weeks. If with the wrong person, you can either wait 2 weeks or spend so much time showing them how to do it that you could have just done it in an hour.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Or two. Mixing's the same way, And so it's a challenge, but I think I've got to figure that out, Steve. I can't continue to have I have just a few hours from the time I wake up till the time I have to go to school on weekdays, and I have to have that time to get my composing done. I've got songs sitting on the sitting up on the racks, as I call them. They're just ready to be finished. I just have to finish them and then get them out and get them working.
Man. I feel this. I feel this conversation so much. This whole year I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. How much I would love to get the right help and from the right person, but it's very difficult to find, and it is a lot of extra work just to try to find that person.
For those people listening to us, they're like, what do you mean you guys are cranking? You guys are sending stuff out and making money and making income and doing this podcast and doing all these things. How can you possibly need more help? I mean, they would love to be able to put out what we are putting out as far as volume, but at the same time, we're like, yeah, but we could do more.
We could be doing so much more. We could do so much more. I could feel like I could double my output.
We'll bookmark this for another podcast.
Good chat for sure.
All right. So I also finished some artwork today, which is not something I do a lot of, but it's something I do another job that I probably should outsource. But again, hiring a graphic designer is expensive, and it would eat up anything I made from doing that. There's some things about to change in our household with my wife got offered full-time at her job, and so that might allow a little flexibility in me really focusing on the things that I think are going to bring in income. You know, I think I may have mentioned this last week, but last month was my first $1,000 month between the channel and the income from stock music. Which is, you know, you've made a lot more, over 1,000 on that, but I don't put as much time into stock in general, all of it, even Motion Array. But the channel is starting to bring some income in through different things, sponsorships and things like that.
Yeah.
And so that's a start. To me, that's like, all I gotta do is triple that. All I have to do is triple that. If I can triple that, then that takes over almost all client needs, all client work. Then I can take on clients only as I want to, and then outsource anything. I used to do that when I was a producer. My producer way I made money as a music producer, which I've talked about on my channel, was to be the producer and then hire out all the jobs, and the clients paid all the outsourcers. So they paid for design, they paid for videos, they paid for all these things. I didn't do them, I just coordinated them. I can do that.
You were the go-between, the connecting point between the people to do the work and the clients.
I was the label, and the label hired all these people to do them, and so everything was outsourced.
Yeah,
I could do that now. I could still do that. Let's see. You know, surprisingly though, this week I've taken some time away. I went to Disney with a friend on Monday and didn't work on Monday morning, really. I did a little work for Monday morning ahead of time, and then Tuesday I went to see Black Adam, the movie out at the theaters, the superhero movie, which was fun.
Cool.
So a little self-care there on those days, you know, just chilling a little bit. I go to movies by myself. That's one of my, you know, relaxing things. I love to do that. I just love to go to movies by myself. You. Just eat popcorn and just sit there in the dark. So I also did something interesting this week. I have not been uploading to Audio Sparks that much this past year because I decided to put everything in Content ID, and they ask you, do not upload anything that's in Content ID. Now, I had already uploaded a lot of things to them, but at the time it wasn't in Content ID. It might be now. But now I have a bunch of stuff that I could load up. And really the only thing I make on Audio Sparks is their Radio Sparks thing, which is kind of like overhead music and streaming type music things. And not much.
And
like
$10. It's like a couple $100 a year, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, I'm about to get a check this month for like $50 after, you know, for the last quarter or something like that. So it's not much money, but it's enough that you could still feed stuff to it, and why not? If it's a place that actually brings dollars eventually. That's what we're going to talk about today. And so I signed up for a Radio Sparks only identity, basically. I just used another one of my brands and said, I'm going to be Radio Sparks only with this brand.
Okay.
That is non-perpetual, and you can take stuff down. You can take stuff down anytime you want. It'll be gone in 6 months.
Right. Yeah. It just takes them a little while.
That's what they say. It'll be gone 6 months from the date you request it, but we'll be happy to take it down in 6 months. So I'm going to do that and just down, so I can just have another place to put stuff that's coming out. And there's a lot of stuff out this year. I got my first Identify payment in my account, so it is a thing. It is not on the list today of things that have paid me zero. It would have been last week. It's not this week. So that paid a nice bill. Hello Composers, we also had a live listening session yesterday before yours, and then directed the traffic over to you. And
thanks for that.
It was fun, and continues to grow that little channel, and it's fun to have a place that we only talk about composing matters and not anything else, because here we talk about income just like we are today. And then I have a live tomorrow. I'm not even sure what I'm doing on it yet, but we have a live tomorrow, and it'll likely be at 11 a.m. and we'll just talk for a while.
Sweet.
All right. Well, any thoughts, questions, answers?
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about money. And I forgot. I
Not
should
me. I never think about money.
I should have added something into my what I did this week, because I had an important conversation with somebody actually. I contacted Songtrust, starting to get interested in collecting some of the royalties that I'm leaving on the table, namely publishing royalties that aren't being collected either in Canada or the US, so worldwide, and also mechanical royalties.
Yeah.
And I had a really good conversation with someone who represents Songtrust. We just had a quick 20-minute chat. Had all the questions for him, and he had all the answers, and it was sounding good. It cost. I didn't realize it cost $100 to join.
It's $100 up front.
Yeah. But he convinced me that I think I got to do it.
And not only that, you might have way more than $100 sitting waiting for you.
That's possible. I don't know.
Did he say something like that?
No.
That's what I've heard. Because of what we've all not collected abroad, especially in countries other than your own, that you're like, for me in the States, BMI has only collected certain amount of things, even worldwide. And there's a lot of mechanicals that have never been collected. MLC, I'm part of that here in the States, but they only collect here in the States.
That's right.
From Spotify plays and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I am missing all those things. They are not a collector of neighboring rights, though, right?
That's the one thing I forgot to ask him. I don't know.
Think they are.
I don't know about that. They don't collect Sound Exchange royalties, as far as I know, either.
No, the only person who does that and
just
does
Sound
it
Exchange.
worldwide is Sound Exchange, I believe.
Yeah.
They do that worldwide, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, but
for non-interactive streaming only.
I've gotten one one Sound Exchange payment, and it took a lot of wrangling to get it. Anyway, that was something that I wanted to add, because I think that I'm leaving some money on the table there, and I can't go and sign up with all these PROs all over the world. I mean, it's way too time consuming. Talk about outsourcing something. I mean, you need a publisher or an admin deal to collect on those, and they only take 15%, I think, of whatever comes in. So to me, that sounds like a good deal.
Except for the 100 up front. But if you think there's a possibility that there's $200 to $1,000 waiting for you, it's like when I signed up with Sound Exchange. Now, I didn't have to pay anything to sign up with Sound Exchange, but my first check was for $700 or something like that, because of stuff that had been piling up for years there, especially
same.
I don't know what it was, because they collect Sirius Radio, but they also collect Pandora, iHeartRadio, all those kind of things. And so now my checks haven't been that big since, but they're still bringing in money. So yeah, I've thought about something like that too, because I know there's stuff that I'm missing, and I listen to the CD Baby people, and Songtrust works with CD Baby, right? Same company, CD Baby Pro.
I think possibly, yeah. I think TuneCore has its own admin deal as well that people talk about as an alternative to Songtrust, I think, quite often. But I'm not sure about CD Baby. I'm not sure if they're in cahoots.
I'm pretty sure the company that runs Songtrust has that program for CD Baby Pro.
Okay.
So CD Baby Pro just runs through Songtrust, I believe. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. So it's good. That's a good thing, because we'll maybe another episode to talk about.
Yeah, something I'll definitely keep you guys in the loop about. Maybe I'll even do a video about it. But gonna join up hopefully today, sometime this week. So that's something.
Cool. All right. Well, I want to start today with there's several things that I do that have made me zero income. And when I talk about zero income, I'm not talking about income that they've told me I've made sales. I'm talking about they've actually literally never sent me a check, or never sent me a PayPal payment or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these are libraries that I have put up. I mean, if you count among all of them, thousands of songs are up across these libraries. I mean, I only have 250 to 300 that are out in rotation across these things as far as audio files. But I'll just start down the list, and we'll talk about each one. And this is not to denigrate or say anything bad about them, although there might be one or two we say something bad about, or we say something not great about. But hey, you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We talk about all the good things about all the libraries for sure. We talk about Artlist like it's, it's heaven on earth for musicians, and for some people it is. But
these things are subjective to some extent, right? Because it's
very
like some of the libraries I make a lot of money on that other people make nothing on, and so I mean, everyone's experience is kind of subjective. But
at least 2 of these libraries, I know people are going to push back on, say, I make tons of money there,
Right.
So I'll just start with 100 Audio. These are in no particular order. 100 Audio is, I know you've probably made something there cash in hand, but I haven't. I've just made 2 or 3 sales there. I'm not even up to $100 towards their $200 and something or whatever the figure is, wands or whatever payout. Now that being said, I only have 10 songs there, or 10 songs there. So I'm gonna go ahead and triple or quadruple down on 100 Audio as soon as I find the time. I'm going to just start putting more up there, maybe research a little bit what people are having luck with over there and put those kind of songs on. Because I did have another sale lately. It was like $50.
Did you?
And so, or 50 whatever. Is it yuan over there? Is that what it is? Y-U-A-N?
Well, I think they don't calculate it in yuan.
Like that's what VFine does, right?
That's what VFine does, yeah.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, they calculate it in US dollars. But
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to have more $50 sales with them, and so I'm going to put more things up there, newer things, things that might work there. Maybe study a little bit there, but I've made 0 from there so far. How about you?
I think I'm almost at around $200 in sales on that marketplace, but I think the threshold for payout is like 230 or 260. It's over $200. Okay, maybe it's even more. So I've never received any payouts from them. I kind of gave up on 100 Audio when things took off with Motion Array, and I'm not opposed to adding more music there. I always thought that as much as people thought that the upload process there was kind of convoluted, once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite easy. It's not that hard. So
you have a great video on that on your channel, by the way.
Yeah, you can check that video out if you want to know how to do it. The annoying thing is that they ask for like a screenshot, like they ask for some proof that you wrote the song. And a MIDI file, which people are really rub people the wrong way, because I think some people felt like that they were using the MIDI files and like stealing the ideas and stuff. Like, I doubt it, guys. I doubt it. I think that they just want some proof. It's just kind of an extra annoyance to have to do it. But you just take a quick screenshot of your session and bounce out a MIDI track, which literally takes like 2 seconds to do.
Yes.
And you add that to the upload, and it's there you go. And I don't usually I'm not going to export all of the MIDI. I'll just like export like one of the stems or whatever, and usually that's enough for them. Some of the language on 100 Audio is translated from Mandarin, I'm assuming, and it's very confusing for some folks. There's some very negative sort of language about punishment and fining authors tens of thousands of dollars or something like that. It's very confusing, and I think one of the things that kind of is like a downside of 100 Audio is that there's no YouTube in China, so you're not going to be collecting on any content ID money with any placements, and for all we know, like some of the music that's being downloaded from 100 Audio is being seen or heard by millions and millions of people. I mean, there's just so many people in China, but you're not going to collect any kind of back end on that. So those are two, that's one big downside of 100 Audio, and it gets me less excited about working with them. And then the other big downside is that, from what I understand in the conversations that I've seen in the Discord, the money when they finally do pay you out, the international transfer fees are going to take a big chunk out of that money. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's substantial. And
it's like half, it seems like.
Like if that's the case, if it's half, then man, that's kind of almost like a deal breaker. It's crazy. But at the end of the day, it's like money is money, and if it doesn't take that long to upload the music, and you're getting $100 here and there from the library, then like maybe it's worth it for you. For me, it's just something that's kind of fallen by the wayside, just because just due to the fact I'm so busy, just trying to feed Motion Array and Artlist. It just
Sure.
takes up such a huge chunk of my time.
I almost did this episode says what should, you know, and I think we've almost done an episode on like what things are worth our time,
Yeah.
and taking advantage of those things that are worth our time. We've already been talking about that today.
Yeah.
VFine Music is the other Chinese library that's kind of in competition with them a little bit, to the point where they both would rather you become an exclusive Chinese author with one of them. Now, I've done that with VFine because VFine was easier to upload to, and I went ahead and jumped off that cliff. But that doesn't mean I can't submit to 100 Audio. I just can't submit the same songs that I submit to VFine to 100 Audio. But I'm going to take a little VFine break because I've got 80 to 100 songs on VFine, and I make zero all the time, especially with their new system.
Yeah, well,
And
their
I've
new
made
system
zero
has
so
been
far.
a disaster from what I can see. And like, I don't know of anyone who said they have a sale on the new system. It just seems like they've been trying to develop some kind of new website, and the whole thing is just a mess.
It actually works great. I mean, it's easy to upload to, especially if you have like different versions of one song. It's like Music Case. You can put a song up there and then immediately ask you, do you have any alternate versions? You put the alternate versions up there. They ask for nothing. They do all the tagging themselves, supposedly, and off you go. It's super fast, but it just seems
but no one's reporting
useless.
any sales.
Yeah.
And people are reporting they're still getting sales on the old site. It's very bizarre. Like it just.
I had one sale on the old site, but that's it in 2 years.
Same here. One sale on the old site. I didn't upload a lot of music, maybe a dozen tracks or so. Fairly easy to upload, and I guess the new site's even better. But
you can't upload to the old one now, I don't think.
You can't. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, man. Maybe it's worth, if I have some free time, I'll throw some new stuff up there, and if I get a new sale or a sale on the new library or the new website, then that would get me excited. But
it would take you no time. I mean, it takes
Right.
5 minutes as long as it takes to upload the file, because that's really all there is. Another one in a similar, I just mentioned the Music Case. I've also just started with them at the first of this year, but we're almost at the end of this year now. And so these were I started the year, I did a video about experiments for this year and things I was going to try. And I said I was going to try 5 or 6 new libraries. And so far it's been very underwhelming, those new libraries. And one of them was the Music Case. I finally got accepted there. And now I have made a sale there, but I haven't been paid anything yet. And I won't, because I probably am not close to the I don't know I think it's $50 probably, like most of them. But and it's in euros. So
is it? Okay.
Euros, I believe, is fairly close to the US dollar, isn't it? I mean, within $10.
I don't
probably.
know. I can't remember what the exchange is.
But anyway, I think I made about $50 there, or 50 euros, but or 40 euros. But whatever, there's been a sale. And now, how long will it take me to have more sales and get actually paid from them? Who knows? But 0 so far. Dreamstime and Deposit Photos. I'll just lump these two together because they're very similar to each other. They take a little time to upload to, because you got to fill out different things and click different things, and you got to choose your genres and all that kind of stuff. And Deposit is the one that lost a bunch of files from everybody, and I had a bunch up there, and I've just got them all back up there. They contacted me recently and said, "We want your music. Put some more music up. We'll help you do it. We'll tag everything." And they did, to their credit. I just uploaded it all through via FTP. I didn't even have to go to each file. I just threw it all up in FTP, and they tagged it all.
Yeah.
But still making nothing. I've made a few sales. I think I make $34, $35 total off there. Haven't been actually paid from them. Same with Dreamstime, which I think is only like $12 or $14, and they're supposedly the biggest library in the world, stock library in the world, and I've made almost nothing there.
Yeah, this is the confusing thing, right? Dreamstime, right? Is supposedly has like one of the it's massive, and yet there's just so little action on it, and it's not just you, right? It's like everyone is saying the same thing. No one's making any money there, so I don't know what the deal is.
Now, all of these I've mentioned, a few people have said they've said that they've had sales. I'm not sure who's made actual money. And what I'm talking about is things that have taken my time that have paid me nothing in a year or 2 years. And so that cannot. I just won't have until I make money in it. I won't be doing anything. And here's the most famous one of all, of course, Music Grid, which is one that was what it was called, right? Music Grid.
Yeah, that's the one that's based in the Middle East.
Mideast, yeah. And so nothing ever happened with that. They even changed the site now, but you can still go there, but nothing ever. No sales, no contact, nothing. I think that's everybody's experience there. Even people who had the #1 song on there for a month or two, you know.
Yeah, that's like kind of unfortunate. I think they seem like nice people. And I'm sure they are. And they were in contact.
It was a nice system.
Yeah, and it was a nice system. It was nothing wrong with the library. I think they were in contact with a few people. I remember the first time I heard about it. I think Daniel Carrizales was talking about it. Like he had a conversation with them. So I think people were excited about it at first, and it was pretty darn easy to upload music there, if I remember correctly. I threw some music at them and said maybe see what happens. But yeah, no, like I think everyone kind of said the same thing. Like, I know a couple people that had one sale there. And I don't think they got any money, or I don't think they got paid. Maybe they didn't pass the threshold or anything like that. But I feel as though I think I remember them sort of pitching it as like they were serving the the Middle Eastern market, which was like underserved for royalty-free music. But that being said, I don't know. Maybe they just found that there was too much competition already. I know maybe some of the libraries that are more well known are just what people are interested in going to, and maybe it just didn't work out in terms of their what they hoped for business and traffic, and that's probably why they changed the site to less of like, hey, come get your royalty free music, and more of like a custom kind of thing. I think that's what they're trying to do now, right? Yeah,
I think so. And then the next 3 libraries are also ones I joined just this year, the beginning of this year, to try out. One is called Jamendo. And I've had I've had a lot of downloads or listens and stuff like that. I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of listens and stuff like that, but no licenses or any kind of sales or anything there. Zero sales, not even, I'm not talking about money coming to me. I'm talking about even sales on there. So I just have been, it takes a while. They're another one that takes a while to upload to because they have many screens, and got to do a certain kind of a photo that's got to be 1,000 by 1,000 pixels or 3,000 by 3,000 pixels. Yeah.
Oh God.
And they won't accept it if you don't do the picture.
Oh man.
So yeah, I don't know why that is. I think they have some kind of streaming thing or something. Although I still don't know why anybody needs 3,000 by 3,000 pixels for any kind of thumbnail. That is so huge. Even at 72 DPI, it's ridiculous.
Are they non-exclusive? Like, what's their deal?
They're non-exclusive.
Yeah, content ID, all that.
I think they have a content ID program where they will do that for you and collect YouTube info. Similar, a little reminiscent of Audiio Sparks that does that as well. They kind of remind me of them a little bit, but they're in Switzerland, I believe, and so I don't know. I haven't really gotten anything going there. Infinity Music, which is the easiest library to upload, because the upload page says write the name of the file and then click the WAV file to upload, and that's all there is. There's nothing else. There's no tagging of any kind. I've got music up there. So far, no sales. Also pay in euros, supposedly. Music Bay is another one that I started, which is a really odd one. You have to send a zip file of the files that you want, along with a Word doc with the descriptions in it. It's a very odd uploading process.
Oh my Lord.
I believe they're in France, but nothing there yet. The one library that I did sign up that has actually paid me something is called Yummy Sounds, and I have received 3 checks, 3 different months.
Big shout out to Paul.
Yeah, Paul. And
I've had a little chat with Paul over email. Seems like a great guy.
He's working hard at all this stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like a hustler for sure. He's working real hard.
He's on Motion Array. He does a lot of stuff.
I see his music on Motion Array. Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one is Music Supervisor Pro, which I would love to do more. on, and I have a bunch of songs that I've uploaded but I haven't tagged yet. Another one that requires a bit of tagging. They want to know who the musicians are, all the stuff. I mean, and there's a lot to do in there, a lot of pages to do. So that's one of those that just takes so much time. I have every once in a while I'll get an email from them that says, "Someone looked at your song today," and I'm like, "Okay,
cool.
What does that mean?" So, but you know, from my friend Ed Hartman, who is a long time, if you know who Ed Hartman, and he is a guy who is mostly a percussionist, but also a composer, and lives up in the Northwest, and he puts out a great newsletter. It's very lo-fi, old school email newsletter, you know, like those ones you used to get back in the 90s, you know, that just went on and on and on and on, and they had but it's good information. He's talking about new places that he got, you know, he gets in movies and stuff like that, mostly with just percussion stuff. Huh. He's been in huge, gigantic movies, and one or two of them have come through Music Supervisor Pro.
Oh yeah.
One or two have come through Crucial, and so he's had a lot of luck that way. So, but I have so far have had not much happen with probably 50 to 100 songs up there, and I like them. I like their library and the way they do it, and I have a feeling they are trying to sit more in that sync space as a online place for people to come and find songs, because there's a lot of they don't do briefs, but they talk about briefs, like this has been sent to a brief or something like that.
Yeah.
So none of those 10 that I just mentioned have made me a dime, and some of them have not even had any sales. And that's time out of my day to upload my songs there. Yeah. Any you can think of that I haven't mentioned that just nothing has come from it at all?
Yeah, well, there's one. I have not received any money from Audiio, which is kind of like an art listy type library.
With two eyes.
Yeah, with two eyes, Audiio with two eyes. Yeah, it's sort of a bit of a confusing interaction with them. Like I applied and didn't hear back from a while. They got back asking for a little bit more music, and I sent them, but I didn't hear back about that. And then all of a sudden, my music was on the library that I sent them, and then I didn't get any heads up about it. And I was like, oh, so surprised. Like I checked in a year later and just so happened to see my music on the library. I was like, oh, okay. They were going through I think a company shift. There was some sort of personnel switchover while all this was going on initially, I think. So there was something lost in communication there, but I wasn't, I reached out to them. And I was like, hey, what's going on with my music? You know, what's the deal with payment? Am I making any sales? Are people downloading my music? This is a subscription library, by the way. And they do this, they have this deal where it's like you pay a subscription fee, like a one-time fee, and you get lifetime access, I think. It's not like a yearly thing. So it's like a one-time payment and all access. So I was, wondering where I stood, and they reached back to me and they said that they had like a $250 threshold for paying out, and I was like, okay, am I close? And they were like, yeah, you're about halfway there. I'm like, okay, after a year or so. So wow. I don't know. I'm not mad at them or anything like that. Or
and there's no place to go look at your stats or anything.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. It's not that like I'm upset that my music isn't getting downloaded. It's possible that they just aren't getting a lot of traffic in general. I don't know what's going on. Maybe other people's music is just like trending more, and like I'm getting pushed to the bottom of the searches and stuff. It could be a lot of things. It's nothing. I'm not taking it personally at all. But the thing is like we have to sort of compare our experiences on libraries. Look at the stats that you get every month from Motion Array. It's not perfect, but they provide you a lot of information. They tell you exactly how many downloads each track is getting. Artlist has a whole back end artist portal where you can see all of your stats, and they're working on improving that. And like they're trying to be as transparent as they possibly can. I think to some extent there's still some stuff we'd like to know, but they're trying to be accountable to the artists, because I think they recognize that. I hope they recognize that the artists are the ones that are propping up the whole business in the first place. So I think there's some it feels a little opaque with some of these libraries that just don't tell you anything in terms of like the actual numbers.
Pond 5 does give you some numbers, and they have some stats that there's not much of them, but there's a little bit. I think you can look at listens or views on your page or views on a song, things like that. Audio Jungle might have that as well. I don't know.
Yeah, each library is a little different. Each one has a little different, but I'm not getting any real tangible information from Audiio. So I just feel like there's a bit of a disconnect there. I haven't really felt inspired to send them any more music, just because I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. It just feels a little bit, I guess I'm just comparing it with my experiences on other libraries. Like I just don't feel stoked to send them tons of music.
Which is my thoughts about all these 10 that I've just outlined. But let me say about these 10 that I just talked about. Of those 10, 100 Audiio, VFine Music, the Music Case, Music Supervisor Pro, I've heard good stories where people have made money consistently from those things and have had good experiences. So
yeah, totally.
And I'll also just throw a quick pitch, and I'll put it in the link in the description below of my stock music book. So if you want to try your luck with any of these and say, you know what, you guys didn't have any luck, but I'm different, I'm going to have some luck. Well, hey, you might. We've seen it happen on our Discord where people talk about these libraries. And the stock market ebook is down in the description, and you can just look at that. And if you decide you want to try your luck, all the links to all these libraries are there.
Yeah, and go grab yourself Eric's song checklist, which I have on my computer, and I refer back to it regularly just to make sure that my to-do list is up to date. It's a great little list.
Thanks. I got a nice comment about that the other day. Just
nice.
Like last night, somebody said, your checklist is awesome, or something like that. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, just to add to what you're saying, like neither of us are saying that these libraries are junky, or they're screwing us over or anything.
They might be janky, but they're not junky.
Yeah, and I think that for the most part, there's a solid team behind each of these libraries that are trying to work hard to do the best they can. And I don't think that there's like, I think sometimes people think that like libraries are out to screw the musicians and over. I mean, I don't know. I think that there's probably good people behind the scenes here. And just because you don't make money on a library doesn't mean that someone else won't. Someone else might have some tremendous luck on a library, and it might be a source of income, solid income for someone. So we're just throwing out our own experiences, but we're not trying to throw anyone under the bus here.
All right. So the next few things I have here, and these are just a few to end this up, are things that might surprise you that I have not made any music income from. And this may or may not apply to Steve, but I'll just let him follow along. But the first one is something I talk about all the time on my channel, and I actually have an ebook about it coming out. But it's made me $0, as far as I know, at this time, and that is sync cues for production music for television and film. Now, that being said, I currently am having monthly placements around the world, and probably ones that aren't even being reported by TuneSet that I don't know about. But I'm talking about the BMG library I'm with. I have a bunch. That's the ones that are getting placed mostly. And then I am also with another boutique library where I have some country stuff. And then I have 139 tracks at scorekeepers.com, which
you
is
139 tracks there. Wow.
I have a 39 track. I just checked today. I have 139 tracks that are active out on their library. Now, I haven't seen anything yet. Again, I am not. This is not something I expect to see a check next month. That's not how all of this is going to work. If a television show uses it, like a show used this one song 3 times last month in Germany, that would be next year before I even found out if there's anything coming from it or if there's any kind of royalty payments at all, and how BMI is going to do with the German television show, you know, if they pay performance royalties. And what is that? Is it $5? Is it $25? Is it $100? I won't know until for quite a while. Still probably, I'm thinking possibly BMI gives a check this, I think we get a payment this month. It's possible I might start to see one from 3 quarters ago. And we'll see if, because I had some Christmas stuff go out. And so we'll see if any of that kind of stuff pays anything. And I'll certainly report on that, you know, as soon as some of that stuff comes in. Steve's also got, you have some TuneSat things going too, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I still get PRO money every quarter for music that was placed on television, but this is from my band's repertoire back when we used to work with like supervisors and stuff, and I got a couple of placements from that whole hustle, and I still get paid from it, and it's awesome. But in terms of getting back end from my production music, which is something that's only really kind of taken off in the last 4 years or so, I still haven't received any PRO money from any of that stuff, despite having all of these detections on like TuneSat.
Will that go to you or Artlist?
Well, so it depends. So it'll go to me. Well, it depends on the contract, right? Because they split the PRO money on the stuff that they're purchasing and buying.
Oh, cool.
Cool. But the stuff that is just under the non-exclusive agreement, that I'm gonna collect all of that if it gets placed on a network or something like that. And
that'll be interesting to hear, because so far I have no evidence that anything on Pond 5, Audio Jungle, Motion Array, or anything has been used in any kind of thing that pays PRO royalties.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't seen that on any of my statements.
I haven't seen
even
that on
the
any of my
tiniest
statements
little
either.
thing. You know, I haven't seen it.
Same here. All the stuff that I've uploaded to the stock libraries is not placed, is not shown up on my SOCAN statements. So that's wait to be seen. I'm sure it'll happen at some point or another.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
I'm not worried about it not happening. I'm just saying that up till now, there's been zero, and it hasn't paid as much bills as, you know, Content ID has that I just started, or that Motion Array has paid, or you know, I'll get a hefty $100 or so from Audio Jungle this next month. So that's real money in your pocket, pays bills, pays for gas, pays for whatever you need it to pay for. Yeah. So far nothing in sync, but I'm not expecting that like right away. You have to be, Dave Croft did a great thing about expectations in the world of production music or sync licensing or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, so I didn't expect anything there. A little disappointed that I'm not seeing any movement at all from any of the 139 tracks on Scorekeepers, because that's some goods. I've got some really good stuff up there. And luckily that is a non-perpetual contract. So in 2 or 3 years, whatever that thing is, I get those back and I can pitch them elsewhere, put them on stock, pitch them to Artlist, whatever. I can do some things with that.
I sent Scorekeepers some stuff, and they never got back to me.
Huh. They can take a while sometimes. I don't remember how long it took. And of course, this one may not surprise you, but another thing I have never had any kind of income from through any dealings with them, which is not something I've only had outgo money, and that of course is Taxi. Now I'm not Taxi doesn't pay you because anyway, if you get something into a library there, it doesn't go back through them. It just comes straight to you if someone pays you something. But in my experience, and this is not everyone's experience, but it's most people's experience, the only thing I have done so far is spent money for 2 years on their monthly, their yearly fee, and then about $100 each year on their $5 submission fees. And so far, nothing has come from that, including no phone calls from anyone. Now, could just be my music. I will totally accept that. That is fine. But I have to look at this on how much can I put that $200, $300 a year to something else? Could I put that to pitches that, shoot, I could go to sync a couple different sync things. Jesse's got a new thing where I could pay $19 a month to be part of his thing and pitch to some sync things. There are opportunities to.
Is he pitching to libraries for you now? Or for people?
Check out Jesse's site. He just started this week. Cool. Changing up Sync Academy. I think that's what he calls it. Sync something. And he just changed that, and he added a new thing. One of his pals, Mike, has a music library, and Mike's going to be giving them briefs every month, and you can submit to the brief. I'm not exactly sure how it works. He explains it all in his videos. You can see that on syncmymusic.com. But then also there's another guy, Mark, who does a great thing. Sync Summit, I think is what his is on. He's very active on Facebook, and he does weekly and sometimes several times a week things where you can. It's a Zoom where you can pitch for $75. You can pitch in person to a music supervisor for what they were looking for. He tells me she's going to be looking for these kind of songs. You can pitch today. Everybody, the fee is $75.
There's another like per pitch.
Per pitch.
Ooh, yeah, that's expensive, man.
It is, but think about that. You're making a relationship with a person with your face online, but still making a relationship with them and getting them knowing you, and you can now email them because they have known you. So it's well invested $75. I mean, if I did 4 of those, that would be $300, and I would have 4 music supervisors I could send stuff to all the time because I would have their emails. They will have known me face to face, even though it was through Zoom, and they will have listened to my stuff and said, that sounds great. You're free to send me things. That is what we wanted Taxi to do, right? So that's just 1 year. I could do 4 of those. Somebody else does that. There's a group of ladies who have a funny boutique pitching service. It's called What Up Pitches. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
But I follow them as well. They also do this same thing where they will have and they're so fun. They're so fun and funny. They have fun doing this. They're music supervisors themselves, and they have this video Zoom chat, and you can pay $75 to be part of it, and you can pitch a song for straight to the music supervisor sitting there listening, and many times the music supervisor saying, "That's great, send it to me." And those kind of things are in my mind could be a substitute for what Taxi does, which is trying to send it and send to unknowing. You have no idea who they're sending it to, and you often never hear back, or mostly never hear back. Yeah. And sometimes even when you hear back, you take this.
Yeah, well, so I heard back twice from two of the submissions that I made to the briefs on Taxi, and I'll be honest, I just turned them both down because the deals weren't really enticing to me. Neither of them were enticing, and that's not, I'm not gonna go on the record and say that my experience with Taxi was negative. I mean, at least I heard back from someone. It would have been more disappointing if I didn't hear back at all on the music that I sent. And realistically, I didn't put that much effort into Taxi. I was kind of stoked about it when I first signed up. I sent them a lot of music. I sent them pretty regular stuff, and then I just dropped off, and I kind of lost interest. Something about listening to other people's experience too. Is there some similar things like sometimes like stock kind of libraries getting back to people and asking them, and I'm just like, man, that's not what I signed up for. That being said, if I had really gone full throttle with Taxi and sent them like tons of stuff, then maybe I'd be singing a different tune right now, and I'd be talking about joining a much better library or working with a supervisor.
But you've got the whole art list thing going, which is probably stronger or as strong as almost any deal you could make with a library that would get back to you. Any library,
100%.
Because you've got monthly money coming from. I mean, because there's a bit of tie-in with Motion Array and Art List, and a bit of community, and you're an Art List artist and all that kind of stuff. I mean, an Art List contributor, They send you briefs and things like that. So all that to say about Taxi, and this will be pretty much what I say in my next video, is while I know many people, I know other people who have not only made contacts from it, and they've been gotten back to. Yes. They actually struck deals, and they were deals with good libraries that lasted for years. Dave has that, and other people have that. Now there are some people who got deals with scorekeepers. I have a deal with scorekeepers because I just sent them stuff. But I've heard things in our Discord where other people are getting with libraries that would not be considered too awful janky. Maybe they're on the level of scorekeepers, like a type of library, which I feel like I can mention scorekeepers since they are just an online library with an online way to submit and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't have anything bad to say about scorekeepers at this point. I'll be doing a review at some point on that. But that's where we are with Taxi. So a lot of time spent. There's also a little bit of a problem with Taxi, and it shouldn't be a problem because you think, hey, this is a plus, but you get so many emails that are enticing you to look at the different briefs and what people are looking for. They become a bit of a distraction. I've been talking about this since my first Taxi video. But some people, that could be the email that brightens their week because they're like, 100%. Hey, you're saying there's a chance, and so I'm going to do stuff with it. Yeah.
I mean, it's important to say that like Taxi is a really strong and supportive community. I think if if
there's that issue.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people get a lot of value from the community itself. So, and I mean, they do,
and the videos and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Totally.
But has made me nothing so far. Short media is my last thing I have here, and we did a whole episode on this. Yeah. But talk about something that can be time consuming and bring seemingly nothing in. I mean, marketing is hard to quantify what it's bringing into you financially. But 59 TikTok followers and 700 Instagram followers since I started Make Music Income it doesn't feel that exciting. And and Instagram is only pumped up because a lot of them had Clint music in it, and Clint's got 16 or 60,000 or whatever followers. So I'm just siphoning off that, but I don't mind doing it, and I like the what comes of it. It's fun to do, it's fun to watch, but it brings no money. And especially I feel like now, and there are other people who would fight you on this tooth and nail and say, TikTok, I make so much money because people go. But those are entertainers probably more than educators, as far, I think. Wouldn't you say? I mean, it's more about the people who do the dances, who have millions of plays, and who have hundreds of thousands or thousands of followers. It's got to be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of subscribers or followers on those things. And those people, there's a greater likelihood they're going to click over onto your site and click onto your little list of things they can buy and buy your merch or buy this or that.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you got hundreds of thousands of followers, there's no doubt that you can convert that influence into dollars. I don't know. Social media it's like, I don't mind doing the shorts and the stuff either, but it's always something that's just like, I can't prioritize it because, like you said, it doesn't bring me any immediate results in terms of like being able to make income, and there's so many other things that I need to do, like content for the academy. If I got to focus on these things. I got to focus on writing music to sustain my life. That's what I do full time. So it's like, I wish that I had a better way of like, whipping up social media. I think I tend to overthink it and like, spend like an hour trying to make like a post, like a good post or whatever. And I think a lot of people are much better at not doing, just like filming it and just like, just putting it out there.
Daniel just walks around and talks.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I got to embrace Daniel's mindset a little bit more on these things because I tend to overthink it. I get perfectionist. And I think I'm my own bottleneck when it comes to like just putting stuff out on social media. But maybe my future intern will help me with that.
Maybe that's a good point. All right. Well, I think we've gone far enough with this for today. Thanks everybody for listening. I hope these have been helpful to you. again, maybe you're listening to this and say, you're totally wrong. I've made money on all those or lots of those. And so if you have, then good for you. I'm very happy that you have, and I hope you continue to make music income with those things. But for now, episode 1 of the Make No Music Income podcast is over. Thanks for listening today. We're not trying to be, Mickey is a little kind of like smarky here.
He looks a little angry.
That's about that's the thought of this podcast. But if you're not watching it on YouTube, you can always go to YouTube and watch this podcast as well. If you're listening on any kind of podcast player, we also put this on our channels every week. So make sure you go to our YouTube channels. We'll put any links below you need to know. And otherwise, have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you guys soon. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.